Hello and welcome to another fun-filled day in math with Mr. Sims. Today we're going to be talking about medians and centroids. So let's go ahead and jump into it and see what we've got so far, okay? So a median, what is a median and what is a centroid? So basically a median is a special cool little thing that you have, which is if you have a triangle, right? First of all, let me make a triangle, okay? Let's say I have this triangle right here. Why is this not writing? Oh, because I need to make a layer just for writing. I'm going to make it this layer here. Okay, so if I have this layer here, right? And let's say this was my triangle. If I have a triangle, then a median, what it's going to do is it's going to stretch from any vertex, right, to the opposite side. And it's going to be the midpoint on the opposite side. So I'm going to eyeball this midpoint here. Obviously, you would want to be exact if you were doing one, right? And this right here, this side would be congruent to this side. In other words, if I have A here, and I have B here, and I have C here, and maybe let's call this one P, right? The distance from A to P, right, is equal to the distance from P to C. All right, so it's important to recognize that, right? That AP is equal to PC, and so that's basically what the median is. This thing right here is the median. All right. Once again, this is the median. I'm sorry about the chicken scratch. Let me try to do a slightly better job with that. That's the median. Okay, and the median, what it is basically is it's just this line that goes from a vertex to the opposite side. It's a midpoint. The midpoint on the opposite side, okay? And just so you know, every triangle has not just one median, but it has three medians, because there's another one over on this side that goes to this midpoint over here, right? Right? This is the midpoint, and so these two lines here, these two line segments here would be congruent, right? And finally, there's another one, all right? And so these two line segments here would also be congruent. You know, let's say this was Q, right? So A to Q is congruent to Q to B, all right? And so that's basically what a median is, all right? A median is any one of those lines that goes from the vertex all the way to the midpoint on the opposite side. And it's important that you recognize that that's a midpoint, right? Because that's a midpoint, it does mean that both of these sides have equal length, all right? And you're going to use that to solve a lot of problems here coming up, all right? So that's basically a median. That's what a median is. Now, you might have noticed that it forms this really cool, I'm going to actually do this in a different color. It forms this really cool central point where they all intersect, right? And that little point is really an awesome point. It's called the centroid, okay? And that centroid is super awesome because that centroid is really the center of gravity, okay? It's the center of gravity. In fact, if you ever played with one of those balancing birds, right? I'll try and get a picture of those balancing birds at some point so you can see what it looks like. But those balancing birds, basically what they have is, you know, they have their beak that's out here that they balance on. They balance on anything. You could balance on an eraser or a pencil or whatever, right? But anyway, they balance on their beak, and then they have their wings that come out here, right? And then finally they have their tail that's over here. And it's just amazing when you look at it because it looks like, hey, this bird is doing some really cool magic trick because it looks like most of it's hanging off the edge, right? But in fact, if you've ever seen one of those birds, if you actually were to figure out the weights and stuff like that, basically what you have here is a triangle. And if you were to calculate all the weights and everything and made the weights match up just right, what you have is essentially it is balanced upon its beak, that beak being basically the centroid, okay? Once you factor in all the different weights and stuff. And basically what I mean by that is it's your center of gravity, okay? The center of gravity, once again, is is like the balancing point of that, okay? So the centroid is, if I were to cut this triangle out of plexiglass, right, and I were to put my finger right underneath the centroid, it's going to balance, all right? Now there's another important thing though about centroids, and this important thing, make sure you learn this, is that the distance from here, any vertex, all the way to the centroid is 2/3 of the total distance from the vertex to this opposite midpoint, all right? So that's 2/3 of the distance. Now this distance from the centroid to the midpoint is 1/3 of the total distance. So in that case, what I have here is if I put this 2/3 and 1/3 together, I get the total length from B to P. So let me go ahead and draw that over here a little bit more clearly so we can make sure you understand it, because that is a critical thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by drawing all of my this looks about right? All of my medians, okay? And once again, going for the vertex, okay? So what you're going to notice is that the centroid, cool, is once again this distance here is 2/3 of the overall distance, and this distance here is 1/3, okay? And what I really mean by that is that follows a 2-to-1 ratio. So basically, if you thought about it for a second, let's say this total distance here, right? I'm going to do that in a different color. Let's say this total distance here was 12. If the total distance is 12 and it follows a 2-to-1 ratio, the 2/3 of that 12 would be 8, right? So that's 8, and the other 1/3 then would be made of 4, right? Now, if I were to take and blow up this triangle, right, so that this length here gets a little bit longer, like we don't change the change of it. All we're doing is dilating it, making it a bigger triangle. Let's say we did it so that it ends up being, instead of 12, let's say it ended up being, sorry, didn't mean to do that. Let me try that again. All right, erase, there we go, erase, erase, there we go, erase. So instead of being 12, let's say instead it was 33. Yeah, 33. Well, then this 2/3 of it here, right, would be 22 and 11, right? This portion here, this 1/3 portion would be 11. In other words, the distance from, let's say this was A, let's say this would B, and this was P, right? The distance from A to P would be 22, and the distance from P to B would be 11 if the total distance from A to B was 33, okay? And actually, the cool thing is you could actually figure out a whole bunch of scenarios, right? Let's say I knew that my A to P, right? I'm just going to isolate the line here because obviously the rest of this doesn't really matter. We're really looking at this line A, P, and B, right? So here's my P, and here's my B, right? And like I said, the distance from A to P is going to be 2/3. I know it doesn't look like it in my picture, right? But we're going to basically realize that, you know what, I can, so as not to make it complicated. Let me go ahead. Oh, that's ugly. Let us know. Oh, that's bad. It gets worse. Okay. Control. Let me try this again. All right. We'll call that B. All right. And so this distance here, once again, is going to follow a 2-to-1 ratio. So what that means is if this distance is 8, this distance would be 4, right? If this distance was 6, this distance would be 12, right? If this distance was 3, this distance would be 6, right? If this distance was 21, this distance would be 42, okay? So once again, it's that 2-to-1 ratio, okay? All right, so now that we know some basics of the medians and centroids, right, that right there is the theory behind it. Let's go ahead and put that puppy dog into practice by doing some fun little problems here. All right, so I've only chosen the hard problems here. I haven't picked any easy ones. Basically, I figured that if you could do the hard ones, you could probably figure out the easy ones. So let's just jump right in now. It says find DJ if DJ is equal to 2x minus 5, right? So this is 2x, right? Oh, cancel. Don't want to do that. 2x minus 5. All right. All right. So once again, 2x minus 5, right? If that's j to d, dj, and pardon me, dk ends up being, what's that? 3 plus x, right? All I've done so far is just write this stuff in the area. Okay, sorry about that chicken scratch there. It looks a little bit like chicken scratch. In fact, let me just go ahead and fix it. It makes me happy. 3 plus x, right? Plus x. All right, knowing that those are the case, right? They want me to find dj. In other words, they want me to find this total area here. Well, we already know this 2x minus 5, right? But they want the actual number. And so what I have to do is I have to realize, well, if this is a median here, right? Which they want us to assume it is, right? If that's a median from L to D, well, then that means that this side and this side are congruent, right? From DK to JD, both of those are congruent. In other words, they're equal to one another. JD is equal to DK. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and set both of those values equal to each other. 2x minus 5. Why is that so hard to write right now? Okay, let me zoom in just a little bit. 2x minus 5 is equal to 3 plus x, okay? And now that I have that, it's just a simple matter of solving for x, right? Subtract x from both sides, right? Just like you've been doing in algebra all this time, right? So you have x minus 5 is equal to 3, right? Then you add 5 to both sides, and I should get x equals 8, okay? And so once again, x equals 8 is not the answer. If you put x equals 8 in, you will be wrong, because x equals 8 is simply the x. So actually boxing that was probably not a good idea. X equals 8, I'm going to circle it, and I need to put that back in this, because I want to get dj. Technically, I could, in theory, put it in this one too, right? Because since they're equal, it wouldn't matter, right? But I'm just going to go ahead and put it in the top one. I get 2 times 8, 8, which is 16, right? Minus 5. So that's 16 minus 5, which is 9, right? So 16 minus 5. No, that's not right. Mr. Sims, do math right. 16 minus 5 is 11, right? So 11 is the answer. Now, if I put it in the other one, you see I also get 11, right? So 11 is my winner chicken dinner answer for this problem, okay? All right, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next one. I'm going to probably give a little bit less explanation as we go through, unless I feel like it's warranted, okay? Once again, MK is 2x minus 5, so that's this total distance here, right, is 2x minus 5, okay? Very important that you realize that. SK is equal to 3x minus 14 over 2. Oh, my. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something real quick. This is going to look like it's going to look wrong, and because it is wrong, okay? But I'm going to do it just to start. So 3x minus 14, right? Over 2, right? And I'm going to set that equal to 2x minus 5. But that's not correct, because what I've just said is that this itty bitty amount here is equal to this massive amount here, and that does not work. So I need to make this itty bitty amount equal to the massive amount. So the question is, how do I do that? Well, as I told you earlier, right, because these are congruent, this SK portion and this SM portion, technically this is also 3x minus 14, right, over 2. Now, technically, I could just add another one of those, but that's just boring, right? Let's go ahead and multiply it by 2, because we have 2 of them. And the cool thing is, look at that, 2 in the denominator. Oh, I see some stuff canceling out. Super, super fun. So now we get 3x minus 14 is, why does it keep connecting those? It's very, very, very annoying. Adjust by speed. Let's go here. Is that 3x minus 14? Oh, I think that's better. Oh, I like that. Okay, let's do that. So 3x minus 14 then is equal to 2x minus 5. There we go. That's much better. All right, so now I'm going to, once again, select the subtract 2x. And this is just a matter of solving, again, for x. I get negative 5 is equal to, what's that? X minus 14, right? Add 14 to both sides, right? Add 14 to both sides, right? What's this? All right, here we go. So add 14 to both sides, right? Why did it do that again? And I end up with what? X. So I end up with x minus 14. These all cancel out, right? But this one over here becomes what? That's 9 is equal to x, right? Winner, winner, chicken dinner, except that's not the answer because they want me to find SM, right? So what they're looking for is this 3x minus 14 over 2. So I got to take that 9 now and put it in to 3 times the x minus the 14 over 2. And that's just a matter now of solving for that. That's 3 times 9 is 27, right? Minus 14 all over 2. So 27 minus 14, right, is 13 over 2, which should be the answer if I did it right. Let me see if I did it right. I did. It feels so good. I love it. All right, so hopefully this is making sense for you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do a couple more problems at least, just so you have a lot to kind of work with as you're looking through this. I highly suggest that you pause these at this point. You know, do them yourself. If you're struggling with this and this is why you're watching it, pause it, try it yourself, then check to see if you solved it the way I did, right? If you didn't, well, maybe you want to go back, or maybe you found an alternate way to get there, right, if you got the right answer. But anyway, you pausing it, watching these without working through them literally does you like zero good. There's just no point. So if you're just, don't waste your time like that. You know what I mean? If you're going to do it, do it. Like actually do it right. Grab paper, grab a pencil, and rock your world. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, here we go. Moving on. Find ux if ux is equal to 7x minus 8 over 2. So that's this distance here. This is the 7x minus 8 over 2. And jx, this little portion here, is 2x minus 1 over 2, right? And what was it? The ux was what? 7x minus 8 over 2. All right, so the total distance is 7x minus 8 over 2, okay? All right, now just looking at that, I'm going to go to the, I'm going to set it equal to the other one. I know it's not equal to the other one, okay? Because once again, I'd be saying this big amount here is just like equal to this little amount. That doesn't make any sense, right? But I'm just doing that so I just have a kind of a framework to work with, right? And that might not always work, right? But in this case, I'm just trying to give myself a framework to look at this problem, right? So obviously, these two don't equal each other. So I want to ask the question, could I do something to make them equal each other? Well, if this distance here is 1/3 of the total distance, right? Well, like I said earlier, it's 1/3 of it. That if I wanted to get the total distance by using this expression here, then I could do it by just multiplying it by 3, couldn't I? And that should equal that total distance, 7x minus 8 over 2. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and do that, right? Before I go too far though, you know, there's another thing I really want to do. I don't like having to work with this denominator of 2. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm also going to multiply this side by 2, and I'm going to multiply this side by 2. Because by doing that to both sides, I can get rid of these denominators, and this is just a trick that's going to help you out a little bit. So I could have done it the other way. I really could have. It just gets messy, and I just figure maybe we just don't need that. You know what I'm saying? So 2x minus 1, I still need to multiply that times 3. Okay? So I get this 7x minus 8, right, over 2. No, not over 2 anymore. I have 7x minus 8 is equal to 2x minus 1 times 3. I'm going to go ahead and distribute in that 3 now. And so I get 7x minus 8 is equal to, Alexa, stop, is equal to, what's that? Let's see here. What am I doing? 2x, oh yeah, so that's going to be 6x minus 3, right? All right, so now that I know that, right, it's just a matter, I can actually get rid of these parentheses now. I don't need them anymore, right? And so now it's just a matter of once again, solving for x, right? Subtracting 6x, subtracting. I'm going to fly through this section right here real quick because I think that you've got this skill down. X minus 8 is equal to negative 3. You're going to add 8 to both sides, right? Add 8 to both sides, and you should get that x is equal to 5, right? But that is not my answer, right? Because I want to take, and what do they want me to do with it? They want me to find ux, right? So ux is the total distance, so I need to put that 5 in for 7x minus 8 over 2. So it's going to be 7 times 5 minus 8 over 2, right? That's 35 minus 8, which is over 2, which is 27, right? Over 2. And that 27 over 2 is my final answer, okay? I know it's ugly, but that's the right answer. All right, let's go ahead and do one more here. I'm just going to cut that off so I'm not accidentally looking at it when I'm doing this, okay? Find HD if HV is equal to x plus 5 and VD is equal to x. Well, oh my. HD, so HD if HV is equal to x plus 5, so that's this little section here, right? And VD is equal to x. Oh my. Cool. I like this one a lot. Okay, so for this one, you have to remember something about centroids, right? By the way, they don't show us the third median, right? But where these two connect is your centroid. And if you remember, I told you something about centroids. I told you there was a 2-to-1 ratio, right? A 2-to-1 ratio between this distance from the vertex to the centroid, right? And this distance from the centroid to the midpoint, right? So since I know it's a 2-to-1 ratio, right, what I can do then is I know that if I have this distance as x, right, that is 1/2 of this distance. All right, so just track with me for a second here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say x plus 5 is equal to x. I know that's not true. In fact, that once again would be saying that this big side is just as big as this tiny little side, which we know is a falsity. So is that a word? I think so. Anyway, but you're basically going to take right now, and I'm going to take and see, could I make them equal? Well, I told you that this was a 2-to-1 ratio, right? So I could take this side here and multiply it by 2, and in so doing, I would get it equal to this side, right? So I'm going to take that x and multiply it by 2, so I get 2x is equal to x plus 5, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, what am I going to do? Yeah, I'm going to add these to, no, sorry, I was going to solve for x, right? Solve for x, which is what? 5 is equal to x. Okay, so x is equal to 5. All right, so now that I know that x is equal to 5, right? That's not the answer once again. I need to get HD still. So what I need to do is I need to take this x equals 5, and I need to plug that in for not only this one, but also this one, because they want to know the total distance from H to D. So essentially what I need to do is I need to take the total distance, which would be x plus 5, plus x, right? Because x is the other distance, so it's like the x plus 5 amount plus my x, and that's going to equal the distance from HD, okay? So that's the distance HD. And what I need to do is now plug in 5 for x, right? So I get 5 plus 5. I always plug in with parentheses just to get in good habits, okay? Just to get in good habits, all right? So now that I have that, I get 15 is equal to HD, or the distance HD, all right? And if I did it right, that should be the winner chicken dinner, and I did. It feels so good to get right answers. I love it. Oh my gosh, it is like an adrenaline rush. I could skydive and it wouldn't be as good, I'm telling you. All right, here we go. No, really, because I'd be panicking about my parachute. Here we go. Find YE. If YE is equal to 12x minus 6, and UE is equal to 3x plus 1. So YE is equal to 12x minus 6. That's this whole distance here, right? And UE is equal to 3x plus 1. 3x plus 1. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set those two equal to one another. I know they're not equal to one another, right? But I'm going to see if there's a way I can make them equal to one another to make this a viable solution, right? Or method of solving this. All right, so looking at that, obviously those aren't equal, right? But I do remember that the portion from the centroid to the midpoint is 1/3 of the total distance, right? So if I did want them to be equal, I would take and I'd multiply this puppy dog by, pardon me, 3. So now I can just multiply that in. I should get, once again, I'm distributing that in, right, to both terms here. So I have 9x plus 3 is equal to 12x minus 6, right? Subtract 9x from both sides. I get 3x minus 6 is equal to 3. Add 6 to both sides. And I get 3x equals 9. And because we know our basic math facts, we know that x is equal to 3. Now, if you wanted to, you could divide by 3, right? But anyway, once again, x is equal to 3. That should be equal. I don't know why it's not looking right. All right, x is equal to 3. Now, that's not my answer, though. Once again, I need to take that x equals 3, and I need to plug that back in. What do they want me to find? Find y. They want me to find the total length of the median. Ooh, look at that. So I'm going to plug it back into 12x minus 6, right? So I have 12 times x, which is 3, right? Minus 6. And when I do that, I get 36 minus 6, which is equal to 30. So my answer should be 30 if I did it right. And I did do it right. It feels so good. All right, here we go. All right, let's do the next one. Find UC if RC is equal to, just so you guys know, I actually hold my breath every time I solve an answer. Like, even no matter how long I've done math, I still have that same feeling that you have when you're about to press that button to see if it's right. Right? I have that same feeling. Like, did I do it right? You know, your brain's checking all the stuff in that split second, right? You see your life flash before your eyes. I feel it too. So don't be alarmed if you feel nervous about these problems. Frankly, there's always going to be a little bit of uncertainty as you do any problem. I mean, I'm pretty sure these days when I get an answer that is the right answer. But you know what? There's always just that 0.332%. You know, that I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean? All right, so here we go. Once again, find UC if RC is equal to 5x minus 14 and UC is equal to 3x minus 18. So once again, this UC is equal to 3x minus 18, okay? That's that distance there. I probably could have zoomed in and actually written in this plot. You know what? Let me do that. So here we go. This is 3x minus 18, right? And the other one is 5x RC. Oh, that's the total distance. And the total distance is 5x minus 14. So actually, this one's going to bear a lot of resemblance to the last one that we did, probably, right? They want us to find UC. Oh, it starts off bearing the same, bearing a lot of resemblance, right? We start off with our 5x minus 14, right? And we want to make that 3x minus 18 equal it, right? Obviously, it doesn't when we start. If we just write this, that doesn't make any sense, right? Because obviously this big one doesn't equal this little bitty one, right? But what I can do is I can say, all right, what can I do to make this true? And I go over here and I say I'm going to multiply it by 3. The reason I'm going to multiply it by 3 once again is because this is 1/3 of the total distance, right? This distance here is 1/3 of the total distance, so I'm going to multiply by 3 to get the total distance amount, make it equal to this 5x minus 14, which is that total distance amount. And so I'm going to get, I'm going to distribute that in. I get 9x minus, what is that? 23 times 8, 30, 54? Minus 54. If I get it wrong, it's because I got the arithmetic wrong. I don't have a calculator on me right now, so bear with me. So 5x minus 14 is equal to 9x minus 54. Subtract 5x from both sides. All right. And I should get negative 14 is equal to 4x minus 54, right? I'm going to add 54 to both sides. Add 54 to both sides, right? And I should get 40, right? So I get 40 is equal to 4x, right? Why does it keep connecting those? So annoying, man. All right, so 4x. What is this anti-aliasing? I have no idea what that is. Oh, dude, I had no idea. It smooths it out. That's kind of cool. All right, moving on. So what was I doing? Oh yeah, just solving by dividing by 4, right? And dividing by 4, and I should get that x is equal to 10. And if I did it right, the answer is not x is equal to 10. I tricked you. So x is equal to 10 is just the x value. How many people are going to get that wrong on the test, I bet, right? So now I got to take that x value and I got to put it into the amount they want, which is UC. So I'm going to put the x value of 10 in there. So it's going to be 3 times 10 minus 18, which is going to be 30, minus 18, which is going to be 12. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. All right, got it. Woohoo! Moving on to the next one. Ding, 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 ding. Do, 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 do. All right, he's wrong. We've got it, Master. We'll do terrible, horrible things to you. Okay, here we go. So find dw if AD is equal to 3x minus 19 and AW is equal to 3x minus 18. AD is equal to 3x minus 19 and AD. Ooh, I like this one. Oh, we gotta do it. It's so good. Oh, yes. All right, so this one's fun. So the reason why it's fun is, it's doubly fun. Okay, so here's the reason why it's fun. This is 2/3 of the amount of the total, right? And they gave us also this AW amount. So this is just going to be fun. This is just, all right, let's do it. So the total amount here, right, from here to here is 3x minus 18, all right? That's that total distance there, right? And then they give us this distance here, which they say is what? AD, they say is 3x minus 19. Now, if you're just trying to do some mental acrobatics right now to solve this, I love it. I hope it hurts a little bit, but I hope it hurts in a good way that stretches your brain, right? And they want us to find this. Look at this. They're all over the place. These people, they're cray-cray. I love it. Okay, so you have 3x minus 18, right? I'm going to set that equal to the other thing, and I know that's complete rubbish because obviously that big amount can't equal that little bitty amount, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that 3x minus 18 now, and I'm going to say to myself, is there a way that I can make them equal? Well, I know that this is 2/3 of the amount. How do I want to do this? How do you want to do this, Mr. Sims? You know what I'm going to do, guys? I'm going to make it equal by multiplying this one by 2/3. Because that's going to give me the same distance here. That makes sense? All right, so if I do that, I get 2/3 times that is equal to 3x minus 19. We good so far? The other way I could have done that, by the way, guys, is I could have broken this down if I'd wanted. Oh, whoops. I could have broken this down, this 3x minus 19, by since it's 2/3 of the distance, right, I could have divided the whole thing by 2 and then multiplied the whole thing by 3 to get that distance as well, right? But you know what? I'm going to do the other one because we never do the other one. We just leave it poor lonesome by itself. So I'm going to do it this way, right? Let's go hard mode. So 2/3 times this, right? And then I'm going to have to distribute in that 2/3. So when I do that, I get a what? Oh man, that's a little bit ugly though. You know, but it doesn't have to be. If I really want to simplify for myself as well, I could multiply both sides by 3, right? If I did that, then this denominator could go away, right? I could make that easier on myself like that, right? Let's not make it easy on ourselves. That's for sissies. Here we go. So 2/3 times this is going to be, these 3's cancel out right here, right? So I end up with 2x, right? Minus 2/3 times a negative 18. So 18 divided by 3 is going to be negative 6, right? Times 2 is going to be negative 12. Once again, sorry, I don't have my calculator handy, and my cool emulator calculator expired, so I'm all by myself with my brain. All right, here we go. So 3x minus 19 is equal to 2x minus 12. At this point, I'm going to, just do that math stuff that we do with algebra, right? Subtract 2x from both sides. You get a total of x minus 19 is equal to negative 12, 12, 12, 12. The crowd goes wild. Ah! So here you go. You're going to add 19 to both sides. And you get x is equal to 7, 7, 7. But that's not the answer, right? In fact, that x equals 7 is what? What do they want? They want WD. Oh, gosh, that's ugly. All right, so now what we got to do is we have this x equals 7, right? We don't know WD. So we have a choice, okay? There's two ways that we can get WD. We know that the ratio of this portion to this portion is a 2-to-1 ratio, right? So what I could do is I could plug 7 in here and then divide this by 2, right, to get this amount, right? So that's one way. And then the other way is I could plug 7 into this amount and plug 7 into this amount and subtract those two, right, to get my total amount, right? Right? Which way do you want to do? I hear you say you want to do option number 2 just because it's uglier. You bet. I love it that you're such hardcore fans of math. So here, let's do it. So 3 times 7 minus 18, right? And then I have to subtract from that, right, the 3 times 7 minus 19. 19, 19, 19. So 3 times 7 is 21. I have 21 minus 18 minus 3 times 7, which is what? 21 minus 19, right? Continue to simplify. I should get 21 minus 18 is 18, 19, 20, 21, which is 3, minus, what's 21 minus 19? 19, 19, 19. That's going to be a 21 minus 19, 20, 21. So minus 2, right? Which is 1. My answer should be 1. Haha! Yes, I got it right. It feels so good. All right. Anyway, we good? All right, moving on. Next one. Ding! All right, last one that I'm going to do tonight on this topic. So hopefully this has been a real help to you. Let's go ahead and rock this last one because it's got fractions. Look at that beast. Okay, here we go. So, you have Sj, right, which is this distance here is equal to x, right, this distance from here to here. And you have Jf is equal to, what's this, 3/2. Man, who makes these evil problems? I do. Okay, so 3, actually, technically CUDA-Works does, but I totally tell it to make them evil. So 3/2 x minus 19, right? And why do you ask? Because I want you to be amazing at math. It makes me happy on the inside when you're amazing at math. So Sj is equal to x, right? So this distance. And Jf is equal to 3/2 x minus 19. So I'm just going to go ahead and set them equal to one another. Once again, I know they're not, right? But I'm going to set them equal to one another and see, can I actually make this statement true? okay? Just because why not, right? So I have 3 half x minus 19 is equal to x, right? And I have to remember that's a 2-to-1 ratio, right? So in other words, this x is already twice the value of this one. So, what the? Oh, that's ugly. Oh, I love it. All right, so yeah, it's ugly. The reason why is because I have to divide this here by 2. Oh, that's such a beast. I love it. All right, so is equal to x, right? Fractions and fractions. All right, let's go ahead and do this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to multiply by, I'm going to multiply both sides by 2, because then I can get rid of, right? Get rid of the denominator, dividing by 2, right? So that makes sense? Yep. So I now have 3 halves x minus 19 is equal to, sorry, oh, cancel. I don't want to do that. No, I don't. Is equal to 2x, right? So now I have 3 halves x minus 19 is equal to 2x. You know what I'm going to do? I don't particularly like this 3 halves x. So you know what? I'm going to multiply it by yet another 2. Because in so doing, I can get rid of this second denominator here, right? Once again, these are just some easy tricks to help you out, right? Don't forget, if I multiply that by 2, I also had to technically multiply this by 2, right? So I have 3x minus, what is that, 38? Is that right? Yes. That is right? Yes. Minus 38 is equal to 4x now, right? 4x. And then I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides, right? So I should get that negative 38 is equal to x. Oh, yeah, that's ugly, but it's the answer. All right, so now they want me to find Sj, right? Yeah, that's not the answer because Sj can't be a positively be a negative number. All right, Mr. Sims made a mistake. Let's figure out where Mr. Sims made his mistake. For those of you who have been doing this with him, maybe you already figured it out. Let me see. JF is equal to 3 halves x minus 19. That's correct. Good. And Sj is equal to x, right? So by multiplying that by 2, I had them equal to one another. That is where I made my mistake. Mr. Sims, what naughty, naughty, naughty did you do? All right, sorry, backtrack. Okay, you know what? Let me actually not do that. Let me show you where I made the mistake. When I set up the problem, I accidentally did this wrong. This 3 halves x minus 19 is a 2-to-1 ratio in favor of the x. In other words, the x is twice as amount. So I actually need to multiply this whole thing, this 3 halves x minus 19 by 2 instead of dividing it by 2. I got those wires crossed in my head. My bad. So, okay, let's go back. Let's go back to here. Back to here. Cancel all this out. Let's go back to this Mama Jama right here. So I have x is equal to 3 halves x minus 19. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this whole thing here by 2. Because that makes them the same, right? Since this is, once again, a 2-to-1 ratio, right? So I'm going to multiply this by 2, and that makes them equal. So that makes this actually way easier than, no, man, I missed that double denominator. That was just fun. All right, so we're going to take now and multiply that 2, and you get 3x minus 38 is equal to x, right? I can actually take and, you know what, let's just subtract 3x. Why not? Normally I would try and keep a positive x, but then we have to move the negative 38 over, and that just makes me unhappy. So let's just get negative 38 is equal to, what's this, negative 2x, right? I really wish it would stop messing with my equal signs. All right, so negative 2x is equal to negative 38, right, which is going to be negative 19 is equal to, what's that? Negative x, right? So therefore x is equal to 19. You do that by multiplying both sides by a -1, right? So you get x equal to 19. So 19 is my answer, but what do they want? They want Sj, which is 19. So 8 is 19. We're right. Yay! In fact, you know what? There's no doubt about it. We deserve a celebratory chicken. Here we go. All right, chicken, you're coming our way. Celebratory chicken. See? Yoo-hoo! Good job, celebratory chicken. All right. Anyway, I hope you had a wonderful, exciting trip through math with Mr. Sims. Go ahead and take a peek at what we did. Basically, we learned about medians. We learned about centroids, right? We did that down here. We learned about the properties of medians and centroids, right? Learning about midpoints, how the median goes from a vertex all the way to a midpoint, right, on the opposite side. And that where all the medians cross, the concurrency of those 3 medians is the centroid, which is the center of gravity, right? We learned that in the centroid, where the centroid's at, the distance from the vertex to that centroid is 2/3 of the total distance from the vertex to the midpoint, right? And that the distance from the centroid to the midpoint is 1/3 of the total distance from the vertex to the midpoint. So anyway, basically, you know, we basically talked about what those all represent. What are all those elements? And then we just did a whole bunch of problems. I'd look through all these problems again, see any cool idiosyncrasies that each one might have. And aside from that, basically, it looks like I think you guys are probably getting it. If you followed with me in that and you were able to work those problems by yourself and get them, then I'm feeling that you're probably pretty confident in this subject. Once again, as always, it's my pleasure to help you out, and I really hope that you guys are getting this. I know this is a long video. That's because this concept takes a long time. So anyway, once again, for these videos, always just use what you need, okay? Use what you need to be successful. I wish you the very best. Thank you for watching, and keep up the great work. Have a great one.